Oh shit. So here, let me see. Because don't worry about that. Because it's a little bit like behind.
Okay.
Because everything's pretty lagged out.
Gotcha.
Bro, what's up?
Dude, what's going on?
Got the first episode going?
That's the first episode. Was wild. It kind of took me back in time. Like a couple months. Yeah, a couple of months. But no. Today I was like driving. I was driving to come to the watch party, and I was like, I still can't even believe I was on the show. So like until I saw it for myself, I'm like, okay, that's me. I'm there. There's me. I am right there. So it was really cool to just watch with everybody and all of our loved ones, and it was awesome.
It was crazy. We had an interesting first fight.
Yeah.
We had some stuff you were talking about. That you thought
so I would the matchup between it was Chapolin and what's the other Joseph. Yeah, Joseph Morales. Yeah, so Chapolin, they picked Chapolin because they knew he had a lot of weight to cut, which I'm surprised they just didn't throw like anything of that in there. As far as like, here's what he weighs. Like they didn't throw any of that in the episode. So there were definitely things behind the scenes on the reason why Chael picked Chapolin to fight first.
I wonder if they had to have had like a bunch of camera footage of that.
They did.
Like
For sure. Because during our practices, they would have like us weigh in on the scale and would videotape us, weighing ourselves. And they're like, when Chapolin stepped in and they knew he was going to fight, we got him on a scale right away. And they were like, bro, he's heavy. So, like, that's when we knew it was going to be tough to, like, we knew that's why they picked him.
What'd you say? Yeah. What'd you say he had to cut?
I think it was like, I want to say it was like 23, 22 pounds.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like from 147 to 125.
It's weird.
Which is what for a bigger guy, it's a little different because you can lose more weight, but for a little guy, that's a lot of weight.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of weight, bro.
It's crazy. Like it doesn't sound like a lot of weight, but then you think about like carrying around like a 25-pound dumbbell.
Yeah.
Like losing that off of your body.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah, and for being a smaller guy, you would be like they can't cut as much weight, and like the unsaid, I guess, not rule, but rule of thumb is like no more than 10% of your body weight. So for 125, that's
like damn near almost 25%.
Yeah, exactly.
So he went way right there.
Yeah, but but it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than 10%.
Yeah.
So come fight week, so it was wild for him to like even make weight. Was like, I was like, wow, I couldn't believe he did it, honestly.
So when you're saying like when they do that, so you're all cutting in the same house?
So we cut weight at the PI.
So you can you're seeing everybody.
But like, yeah, we're seeing, so like, we go through the week of fight week. We're all living in the house. We're going to practices. We're doing our own thing, kind of, where we do like tailored workouts to cutting weight. Cause you're not training super hard during fight week. You're going in, you're getting a sweat, you're moving around, you're staying sharp. And then you're getting ready for the fight. But, as we're going through the week, you can kind of see who's having a tougher cut than other guys. You know what I mean? But for sure, Chapolin was a lot heavier than most of us. And so, and for him to be the smaller guy, it was just crazy for him to make the weight. And then we would all cut weight at the PI, right the day before weigh-ins or the morning of weigh-ins. And it was just, you could tell it was painful. And so, yeah, it was wild to watch, but I really think that was a big part of why he didn't fight very good. I think he's a very good fighter. I'm not taking anything away from Joseph. I think Joseph was a great fighter. I just think he kind of went in there and it wasn't 100% of himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you said you had a pretty serious weight cut like that before too, right?
Yeah, and it takes it out of you. It drains you.
When you were doing the enemas.
If we want to bring that up. No, but seriously though, back when I was doing 155, like some really bad weight cuts, and like I would show up and I'd tell people I would show up half the time, and the other time I wouldn't show up. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. So I was like, man, he's gonna be hurting, like for sure. And it was like one of those, guys have a real bad weight cut when they get off the scale, they're able to drink a little bit, but it's hard for them to even get liquids down. Like me, usually I get off the scale, like I don't have that hard of a weight cut. I can start drinking right away. like start rehydrating, but he was like severely dehydrated to the point where like he's taking very little sips of water, tough to get any water down, tough to get any food down for a while. And so it was just a tough spot to be in.
And it was, the weigh-ins were the day before that still though, right?
Yeah, they were still day before the fight.
Did you see him at all the day of?
The day of the fight? Yeah, I saw him in the morning. I'm pretty sure we ate breakfast and lunch together in the house. But, you know, he was able to eat, and he obviously put the weight back on. But you can just tell, like, it's hard for your body to be 100% after losing that much weight and just being that dehydrated. And I don't know. I could just tell it took him a long time after weigh-ins to get food or water or anything. And so I was like, this was he definitely pushed the limit on it, and it wasn't ideal, you know. So that's what I think a part of his performance was, you know, what it was. But he's a hell of a fighter, and he's a good time too in the house. He's a funny guy. His little hammer that he carries around and runs around with.
I was laughing so hard when he freaking like hit it against his hand and it like squeaked like
it squeaks like a little it squeaks like a dog chew toy. But he's a funny guy, man. He's a funny guy, and he roomed right across the way from like where I roomed, so we were right next to each other. The yellow team was all like we were all downstairs, and so some of the blue team, I think there were 2 guys downstairs, and then the rest of them were all upstairs. They all got up there first when everybody ran into the house off the vans. All of the blue team went straight upstairs right away, and they were behind us like when they parked the vans, and they got out first. Like they got out quicker. So Daniil came in, but Daniil just stayed downstairs. So they got all the upstairs. We got the downstairs pretty much. Damn. And the 2 guys. So that wasn't planned. They don't tell you. No, they don't tell you shit. No, they just tell you like go run. They're like be free. They're like open the doors, be free, go. Do whatever you want. We'll have the cameras rolling, you know? Like they don't care at all. And so it sucked cuz I sat in the back of the van, which I should have known better than that. I sat in the back of the van, so I was the last guy off my van. And so I was just running around like I'm the last guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm scrambling to find a room. But I got lucky enough to I turned one way, saw there were already guys. I turned right, and there was a room. I was like, well, this is where I'm sleeping. So, but yeah, it was just chaotic, super chaotic when they let us out of the van. And
are you super stoked to be Team DC?
Yeah, dude. I was. It was interesting. So I really thought I knew I didn't have the greatest open workout. Like I just felt I was like, I'm just not. I just didn't do that great. But I thought that I had at one point an interaction with Chael that I thought I would get picked up closer to the top. And now I'm kind of realizing now after the show and after the fact, I think he asked me a certain question that I think he asked a lot of guys to kind of see where everybody was at and where, you know, basically to find out where everybody's head's at and how should he make his first move. And, you know, I wasn't that, which is fine. But I was definitely a little like, okay, you guys are going to pick me on the second half. Like, I'm going to show out. I'm going to prove that I should have been in the first half of the guys getting picked. So it just lit a fire under me, really. You know? Well,
I mean, at least, too, you got to think they kind of got – all the people that got picked first got done dirty because they had to take the first fight, and they were –
Yeah, I was going to say the theme of this season was, it's just a shootout right from the get-go, number one versus number one. You know what I mean? That's what we got this first episode. And I'm not going to say too much, but a lot of that, it wasn't there's not a bunch of strategic picks. It was we'll just have the best guys fight the best guys. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it really entertaining. As far as the fights go, all the fights are bangers. You'll have to watch. But it wasn't we're going to have our number one guy fight our number four, fight the last pick or anything like that. We just got to it. You know what I mean?
Who were the coaches for you guys? The coaches they brought in?
They brought in? Yeah. So DC brought in John Wood, who's owner of Syndicate MMA. And then he brought in Mike Chiesa. Who else did he bring in? He brought in why am I blanking? Tiago's Muay Thai coach. Rosando, boxing coach, who was DC's boxing coach, the guy who shoved Brock Lesnar when Brock got in the cage and shoved DC. He's the guy who shoved Brock Lesnar, and he had. It's funny, that story is really funny actually when DC tells it because he's like, yeah, it was staged, But Rosando didn't get the memo that it was staged. So like he actually thought this was real life and like shoved Brock Lesnar. And it's funny because Rosando's a small dude, but yeah, those are the main coaches they brought in, and then they had like guests throughout. But you could just tell. I thought with DC's coaching picks, the guys he brought in, I was like, he's serious about winning the show, and I like that. So I didn't mind getting picked third. I was happy to be on his team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then at least you didn't have to get taught by Colby.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I'll say a little something. So Colby is exactly what all the fighters say he is. He's like a gimmick. So he on camera, like when you first meet him, very nice guy. He holds himself like somebody should. But then when the cameras start rolling, he definitely turns into Chaos Covington. That's what he likes to do. And so Colby's very hit or miss. You know, he's not very consistent.
Well, it seems like he's playing a character.
He's playing the character.
But it's not like, I feel like the people who do it really well that's kind of already them already.
Yeah.
But you could tell like that's not
No, that's not who he is at all. He's like he's just a nice dude. Like when he met with all of us and on the show, he's like very respectful, very quiet throughout. But then when the cameras turn on for a second and he knows he can get a little bit of limelight, he definitely, you know, lets his feathers go. You know what I mean? He puffs up, acts like like a big turkey, you know? So, but like kudos to him. You know, I think that's what he needed to do to stay in the UFC. Yeah. You know, and that's just the position he's in. That's what he had to do.
Yeah. But
for me, it's like you said, the guys who you think play the role, it is part of them. Like a Connor, you know, the reason why Connor was so special is because he's authentic. Yeah. You know, that's really Connor. And we know that now. Like that is definitely 100% Connor. So, you know, if you're not authentic and you're just playing the role, it's not as special. And so that's just what I see when I look at Colby. Yeah. You know, he's playing his role, but he does a good job of it.
They did bring in some other cool people. I like that Robert Whitaker and some of those.
Yeah, they brought in I think they brought in all the champions that were on the Ultimate Fighter. Throughout they did certain sessions with not all of them did a session with us, but we got to meet you know, I don't know if I can even talk about this because I'm sure it's part of the episode. It's going to drop, but we met a lot of people who are already on the show, were vets of TUF, and were, you know, had great UFC careers. And they taught us a lot, whether it was mental or they actually came in and ran a session. We got to learn from, you know, the people you see on TV. It was great. It was a great opportunity.
I know. I wish they showed some more stuff in the house that we could figure out.
Yeah, I think they're saving it. I think they're saving it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
which is the right move.
And that was the thing we were talking about too. Like they have the big intro and stuff. They're
It's the first episode. Yeah. It's the first episode, and you know, that intro takes 15, 20 minutes of it. And then I think they're saving a lot of what you have questions for. It's good. You have questions for it, so you're willing to stick around and kind of find the answers to those questions, and you'll definitely do that as you watch the show. That's for sure.
What do you think of DC, like being coached by him?
Dude, he's DC. It's funny because you know the interview that I did that I told on my Instagram. I'm like, oh, DC. He's I think he's a little bit more serious, bro. DC's a big ass kid. He's just a big ass kid. He really doesn't. He doesn't take anything that serious until you piss him off, and he gets a little fired up throughout the season. But overall, he's just a big kid. He's just like you and I. We like to goof off, have a good time. But for sure, when it came to actual training, you could tell that DC kind of faded away, and it became all right, now we're serious. So he did a good job of having a good time, joking before or after practice. But when it was time to train, it was time to train. Yeah. So, and I was able to pick his brain, and just all the coaches he brought on were really good, and I had a good relationship. I felt like I vibed well with all of them, and I'm super glad I was on Team DC. I think if I was the other way around, I don't think I would have gotten as much out of the experience. I think I still would have learned a lot, and who knows that would have changed everything. Who knows who I would have fought or all that, but I do think I was on the right team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. Yeah. And so I think, I think DC was the right move. Wish I wouldn't have got picked third, but I understood, you know. I think it just lit a fire under me anyways, and I think that's why I can't say that. Can I? No. Can't say that, can I? But no, it went well. I learned.
We're thinking about this though because we can't edit it out later.
Okay.
So just
gotcha.
Err on the side of
of caution.
Safety.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think I was on the right team. I learned a ton. I think our team overall was very good. I think our team was very good. We had from welterweights to flyweights. I felt like we just had the deeper team. Like I think they had great guys on their team, but I just felt like skill for skill, looking at all the guys that we had the better team. And I even say that after we lost the first fight, I would still say like we had the better team. And our team definitely had, obviously Rodrigo's a big personality. He was kind of like the heart and soul of our team. That's kind of how I'd explain him. He's very loud. He's very he's got a lot of energy, and I like that about him. He kind of had all of our morale very high. We were always, happy to train, be in the house. He's always entertaining. We're all there, no phone, no TV. We need some entertainment. Just go hang out with Rodrigo. You'll be entertained.
And he has to hang out with you guys the rest of the show.
Yeah.
So
we're all in the same house, and he's on our team. So at minimum, he's got to go to the training sessions with us. He's in the house with us. So yeah, he had to be around. We had to be around each other the entire show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think it's cool that they do that. I'm sure it's probably like looking back on it for him, like having to go through that and then have to be stuck there the rest of the time probably kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least they give him some really good training and all that other stuff just to kind of like give him a little something after losing the first round.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, Chapolin. So yeah, it was good because I think it's hard, obviously, once you lose to stay there. You would want to just go home. You're like, all right, I'm out of the tournament. I'm out of this. But not necessarily, because in past seasons they've had where guys lose their first fight, somebody gets hurt, something happens, and they have to bring somebody back in. They give somebody a second shot. So it's like it has happened before where the guy's lost his first fight, he comes back and he's still in it. Yeah. So I think you'll see like a lot of guys, some of the guys when they lose, they either react one or two ways. One is, it's over. I'm chilling. I'm just going to have a good time hanging out the rest of the time in the house. I'm not really going to train, do my thing. There are other guys that were like, well, I might get another opportunity. And you could tell who was doing what after they lost, which was very interesting, like just how different people were reacting to, not having the outcome that they wanted.
Definitely. So you got your boys fighting in the next episode, it seems like? Yeah,
Daniil's fighting, forget what his name, off the top, Richard. Yeah, he was fighting Richard. Daniil, one of my boys. He's probably one of the better guys, like as far as like probably one of my best friends in the house. I would say definitely one of my allies. And but the one thing about Daniil, he's only 23. He's very young, but he does.
Crazy that he has that many fights though.
A lot of fights.
Like he got right to work.
And the kid's super dedicated. He trains in Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, and he's from Ukraine. And me and him just kind of hit it off just because we had really good training together. In the open workout, we kind of like went up against each other, and we're kind of like, oh, okay, like we had good training together, and he was one of my main training partners the entire season.
Nice.
Yeah, so him, and then I would say my other great friend who you didn't really get to see much of also was Alibi, who was from Kazakhstan. Yeah, so.
I love people from Kazakhstan, bro.
I think I can say this. I can't say too much because they got to play what they need on the episodes. But Alibi knows no English when he comes. When he shows up there, no English. By the time he left, he's speaking interviews in English. So very smart guy.
He's just speaking all the broken.
Yeah, dude. But no, very cool.
You guys are telling
it was really funny. Super. And like I love. He was a really cool guy. So Daniil and Alibi were really good friends. All the other guys on our team. Really solid guys. Alex Sanchez, Rodrigo, Daniil, me was the last welterweight, and then Alibi Tumelo was from South Africa. He's another really cool guy. Tumelo, who are the other two? It's the guy who fought tonight, Chapolin, and then Imanol from Mexico. So our team was.
Were you the only American
on my team?
Oh,
on my team, I was the only American. There were two other Americans total on the show. and they were both on jail. The other two.
Interesting.
Yeah, me, Matt Dixon, and then Joseph.
Holding it down for the whole country.
Holding it down for the USA on Team DC. Yeah, I really thought initially when going through all this process that there would be a lot more Americans. Because it's an American reality TV show primarily. I was like, oh, it's going to be all these guys that are, the top guys in the nation in the US. Couldn't have been more wrong. And like I felt that when I got there, and you get there, you stay in a hotel for, I think it was 5 days, and you're seeing these guys in and out while you're getting meals and stuff, and you're doing your workouts at the hotels. Like,
you check their ears.
Yeah. You're like, oh, but it was very clear. Like we could all see each other. We knew. I was like, damn, there's not a lot of Americans. There's a big mix here. And so I already like saw that. Like first day, I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna be wrong. Like there's a lot of guys from a lot of different countries here, and I thought I would have more of a tough time communicating, obviously with language barriers and guys being from different places. But really our team was perfect because we had guys that knew different languages. Like Daniil knew Ukraine. He could talk in Kazakh, and then also knew he knew English. So I could speak to Daniil.
Yeah, no, we're assholes, dude.
Seriously. It made me feel bad. It made me realize that I should not have cheated in Spanish class when I was in high school, and had my brother. Like I would copy my brother's homework, and I definitely, I know I should have never done that, bro. Especially when I roomed with two guys from Mexico, so I was like, man, I can't. And they just spoke Spanish, so I was like, damn, I really shouldn't have really cheated at all in my Spanish class.
The hard thing is that you really have to be like, I was learning Spanish really good while I worked in a Mexican food place.
Okay.
But like, if you're not in a place where you get to talk to people all the time, at least with your buddy who's from Ukraine, like he lives in Thailand. Yeah. So you can learn some Thai, like you're talking to random people, and he's not gonna like forget his native language. Right. So I feel like in that kind of scenario, it's easier to pick that stuff up. Yeah. But we're just so used to where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it made me feel not uncultured, but like just I should have known. I feel like I should know another language. You know what I mean? And then Rodrigo knew. He's from Brazil, and he originally from Brazil, lives in Canada, so he knows a little bit of French, a little bit of Portuguese, and then he knows Spanish. So it's like he knows, so he could speak to all the guys from Mexico that were on our team who only knew Spanish, and so we could all communicate, which was like, now when I look back on it, really important, because if we couldn't have done that, it would have been tough to communicate with anybody. Yeah. So it was kind of the team that it was supposed to go down that way.
Props to all the freaking translators though, because that must be so. Dude, like, at least from like a video side for me. Right. Like filming all these people, do you have somebody that's like, yo, these guys are talking shit in Spanish?
Yeah, yeah, we got to go run in with the cameras right now.
Like, how do you know? Like,
that's a good point. I couldn't answer that. I think you need somebody from the UFC team to answer that for you. I think they did have for Alibi from Kazakhstan, they had a translator there, but Daniil was able to help most of the time. But sometimes he would go do the interviews. They would go in the back, do your interview. Sometimes Daniil would go with him and translate, and sometimes they would have the translator for him. But overall, like halfway through the show, he started like pick up English really quickly, and so like very smart guy, very smart. And so it was good. We were able to communicate amongst each other, and we worked well as a team. Yeah.
What do you think the best country that was?
That was represented?
That was represented.
The US of A. Well, that's a dumb question. My country. No, I think, let's go for as far as numbers go, I think.
Like, you can do like past, like whatever.
No, but I'm just saying, like, as far as numbers go on the show, I think there were the most guys who were from Mexico. Oh, really? I think there were 3 from Mexico.
Really?
That were represented, yeah. Yeah, I think it was.
Which guy is the fighting nerd guy?
He's from Brazil.
Is he
Diego Biachini? He's crazy, by the way. I like. If Diego watches, I like Diego. He's funny. It's really funny when Brazilians talk in English and argue in English. Even funnier, more entertaining. So, but he's a very crazy guy. You'll see in the show. But I liked him. He was funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but he's the fighting nerds guy. He had the glasses. He has the glasses, and he was a character.
I seen the promo.
Yeah, he takes them off. Yeah. But
I
yeah,
just laugh because my whenever my wife's like around like watching all that stuff, she's like, "Why
What
is
is-
he wearing those
glasses with no lens.
He just really can't see that well.
Yeah.
Is he wearing contacts when he fights?"
But no, he was cool. The other guys from Chael too, like, we all got along initially. Like when we got into the house,
Which is probably not what they wanted.
no, probably
Like,
not.
can you guys like drink some more alcohol?
Alcohol,
or
yeah,
something?
yeah. They have like, it's funny. You walk into the house, they have like a little mini bar that's got all the monsters lined up, and then they've got the alcohol lined up behind it, and so there's wine bottles, whatever else. But
It's funny to watch like because we accidentally clicked on the first episode of the first season when we first started watching in there.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Why is it square?" Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
all different.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny because I feel like back then, like all the fighters were just like wild men.
Wild
They're
people,
just, like,
yeah.
drinking alcohol.
They didn't do
Like,
background checks. They were
They're
like,
like knocking each other out in the bathroom.
yeah. I think the show more has developed into less of chaos and more of just like telling the story of the fighter. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's really come to, I think. You know, I don't know if that's because it's become more of a sport and people are more professional, or if back then it was just, like you said, it's just a bunch of wild men. Like, who would want to do this for a living? Nobody knows anything about the UFC, and these guys are just wild dudes. You know, I don't necessarily know, but it was for the most part, I'll say pretty professional season. There's definitely some things in there you'll just have to watch, but
And there's a lot more to come.
yep, sounds good.
So we'll catch you guys later.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning
Thank
in
you guys.
for the first
live stream.
You know, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's
One live stream at a time.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of moving parts. We're gonna need some crew.
We have our wives working the board.
Put them to work in there.
Yeah, for sure.
But thanks for bearing with us, and tune in on the next one. We'll figure out what goes on and other. Oh wait. Can we talk about that?
About the watch party?
Are we allowed to do that?
We can talk about it.
Okay, why don't we just do that real quick then?
Yeah, so we're gonna have a watch party. It's gonna be June 17th at Offshore Bar and Grill in San Diego. We have the place at 6 p.m. So if you're in the San Diego area, you're a supporter of mine, please come out. We're going to watch the episode there. And, we're going to just be there watching the episode and have a good time.
It'd be good. Should be a lot of us. Yeah.
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 I don't know if
Mama Creighton's.
I don't know if I could be said here, though. But I'm just saying that, don't worry. Chill over there. But, because I don't think that,
Yeah.
But thank you guys.
But thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll catch you later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're